introduce our group before we get moving here. My name is Scott Scranzel. We have Rob Wiesner, Ray Welch, Beth Fox, and Shirley Perkins. I want to highlight the start of this by saying that Beth did a hole-in-one on Sunday at one of the local golf courses. So, yeah, we got a free game out of it.
So I need to call.
One of our first orders of business during our group of reading seat was to establish a common goal, our project goal. Collectively, our team's goal was to contribute or develop to a literacy program that establishes early on in the child's life the importance of reading.
Sorry.
Moving through, we moved fairly rapidly, actually, right onto the project selection stage, about 5 months.
We'll go back there.
That's okay, that's okay.
Technology is great.
What is it?
For our project selection stage, as our slide indicates, we researched and talked with existing literacy programs and representatives in Napa, Solano, Marin, and Sonoma counties to determine what was and what was not being effectively implemented. Based on the information that we gathered and the focus on literacy, we developed a tentative project plan and directed that to youth in Napa County. Simultaneously, we also pursued information with respect to literacy directed out of the United States.
Part of the process of our group was to learn more about literacy. Obviously, all of us know that literacy is important, but why is it important? What's the impact of not having effective, continued literacy programs within our community? Well, I would like to share with you some of the information that we learned through our research and how it helps to support our belief, our strong belief in the program that we set up and why we believe it's worthwhile. A study performed by the U.S. Department of Education entitled Adult Literacy in America that as many as 90 million Americans, half the adult population, do not have basic reading, writing, and computation skills. Now, unfortunately, there is an impact among high-risk kids. There's research demonstrates there is a correlation between a child's literacy and that of their mothers. An education testing survey done in 1995 indicated that 70% of welfare mothers do not have reading skills or have reading skills in the lowest 2 proficiency levels. And that's particularly important because the single most significant indicator of a child's literacy is that of their parents, or actually that of their mothers. That came from a study done out of Pennsylvania. Now, that's one of the causes. Now, there's an effect to all this also. And unfortunately, the studies show that there's a strong correlation between literacy and crime. At least 60% of inmates in state and federal prisons cannot read or do math at a 3rd grade level. That's based on testimony at a Senate subcommittee on literacy given at the 101st Congress. Now, how do we combat some of these ill effects? Well, one way is looking at literacy in the home. The home literacy environment, which includes parental literacy skills, the academic achievement of parents, the availability of reading materials, as well as other factors, have a significant impact on a child's literacy. Now, it's a predictor of later literacy as well as academic achievement, it doesn't have necessarily a direct effect on the social economic status. So to kind of bring together this short synopsis, our goal is basically to try to get books in the hands of at-risk, low-income children. Because children tend to read a lot when they come from communities and homes where reading materials are easily available.
About First Book. Before we started researching young youth and literacy, nobody in our group had even heard of First Book. We found this national nonprofit organization on the internet. The First Book main headquarters is in Washington, D.C. Our goal was similar to their goal, which was to give disadvantaged children the opportunity to read and own their first new books. This is very exciting because it meant that the most at-risk kids could get new books. They could have them, they could hold them, they could read them, and they could reread them. So our group decided we would try to start a chapter of First Book in Napa County. And our goal is to try to get 5,000 brand new books distributed into the hands of needy children. And then after we had done that, we wanted to continue doing this with an ongoing book distribution for the future, to keep getting books into the hands of children. First Book has some powerful people behind it. Nationally, the First Book Board of Directors includes Lou Harris from Harris Polls, Sally Sussman from the American Express Company, and Tom Tolworth from Barnes & Noble Bookstores. First Book also has many national partners, and these include B. Dalton Booksellers, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and AmeriCorps Vista Volunteers. First Book works through its volunteer-driven local advisory board network to bring the magic of new books to low-income and educationally at-risk children. So what we had to do is we had to form a local advisory board, and we would coordinate with these people in Washington, D.C. to get First Book to give us books into the hands of needy children. So what we did is we got a hold of the Napa Valley Reading Association, and they are the local advisory board, and everybody in our group is a member of the local advisory board. And now we'll go to the last one. So First Book was established 7 years ago in 1992, and a few of the cities near us that have a First Book chapter in their towns are Sacramento, Oakland, and Vallejo. The headquarters in Washington, D.C. provides some very important things, which is why we're associated with the headquarters. The First Book headquarters, they negotiate substantial discounts on new children's books. They provide financial and accounting management. They provide community starter books. And it's nice to know that 90% of the money that we raise goes to Napa County. Only 10% of the money goes to the headquarters in Washington, D.C., and that's used to help us get these great discounts on new books so we can get them into the hands of the needy kids. So we're very happy to have First Book in Napa County.
I can stand. This is about project development, how we were able to bring First Book to Napa, what it is we needed to do. As Ray had indicated, the first thing we needed to do was to develop a local advisory board, but we weren't sure how do you go about doing that. We actually went down and visited Solano County Library. Sandy Toasty was very helpful, gave some suggestions what to do. We had in close contact with the national office in Washington, D.C. for First Book. We initially approached the Napa City County Library, but because of funding and cutbacks, they weren't able to really participate. They're interested in books, but couldn't really work with us. We also didn't really want to start another organization in Napa. We wanted to make sure that we worked with somebody already established in literacy, working in literacy. So we made a presentation to Napa Valley Reading Association. Well-known group, been in Napa for years, primarily a lot of teachers. They were very interested. They fell right along with their mission, and members of their group, along with our project team, became the local advisory board for First Book. We had to submit a request to First Book where we actually become awarded a First Book chapter, and we were successful. What we needed to send to them was a list of our members, information about Napa Valley Reading Association, statistical data, which was rather difficult to hands-on, about the number of children who are at or below poverty level in Napa. We received our official notification from First Book, and we were quite happy. We had to go a very long time to actually get our official notification. And initially they only gave us 3,000 books, and so we negotiated with them, got up to 5,000 books. So we had 5,000 free books to give out to members of our community to distribute to kids of low-income or who are disadvantaged. What we did at that point, we prepared a list of possible recipients of these books, prepared a timeline for distribution of all 5,000 books. We got to prepare a book grant application form for those literacy programs or nonprofits that deal with kids or disadvantaged children to apply. Actually, it's due May 13th. Prepared an application rating form. The evaluation of the applications we received will occur on Monday. We met with the Napa Valley Nonprofit Coalition and the principals of the Napa Valley Unified Elementary School and did a presentation. With both groups, I would say we were very well received, lots of questions, gave out lots of applications. So at this point, we're getting ready to read. Beth?
Right now, we are in the process of going over the applications that have come in from the many local literacy groups. They're due tomorrow. We have a few that we know are coming late, and then we will be distributing 5,000 new books by this fall. To kick off our First Book distribution, we'll be having some special events that will include some First Book parties that will happen at many of the local bookstores, and we're also hoping to involve some local businesses, which will probably include Target and Starbucks, who've shown an interest locally and nationally in education and literacy. We will continue to be on the board for the local advisory board for First Book, and the Napa Valley Reading Association will also continue as the local advisory board for First Book, so that we can get 2,000 to 5,000 books for the next few years. Getting back to the mission of First Book, we wanted to get books into the hands of low-income children, and first, what we wanted to emphasize was that these books the children will own and they will be able to take home. As Rod mentioned earlier, reading in the home serves to build self-esteem for these children. And for the poorest children, we found that the most significant barrier to literacy is a lack of books in their home. So we heard a story from a local elementary school librarian who told us that many of the really low-income kids are not even allowed to check books out of the library because their parents are afraid that they will lose them or they'll become damaged and they won't be able to pay for them. So many of the kids in our own schools don't have books at home and have no way to get them. Okay. We believe that First Book will provide a link to success for children who don't have access or means for books of their own. We just want to get books into these kids' hands so they can take them home and own them. And there are a few people that we wanted to thank for helping us with this project.
Alice Jackson is a retired principal from Troopville School. She also works in the Napa Valley Unified School District, Channel 45. She gave us a lot of ideas. She suggested we go talk to Case Ober, which we did. She heads up reading recovery, and she has a whole lot of ideas. We had to scale down. Dan Marcello, I think you're going to be a common thread throughout here. Any telephone calls? Sandy Toasty, again, from the Solano County Library. They were also successful bringing First Book into Solano County. First Book, Napa Valley Reading Association, and of course the First Book National Office. And that's our presentation. What we'd like to add, We have brochures up here. And anybody who's interested in making a donation to first book, you're more than welcome to. Our first 5,000 books, of course, were free, and then from here on out, we're going to be raising money so we can continue this process. Our goal is minimum of 5,000 next year, hopefully more.
And $25 is 10 books, so it goes a long way.